this press conference is to share with you my views on France Museveni's actions. With more than 39,000 views, he clearly has an impressive following. And since he has made it his mission to keep me reading about me every single day, it was in my interest to offer my side of this unfortunate chapter in our country's justice system. Of course, this is where we are. And he's either bullied, harassed, defamed, and slandered by a group of people hiding behind a pseudonym. I say that I've been bullied because I've been repeatedly mentioned in posts that I intended to, and indeed, portray me in very bad light. I've been repeatedly tagged to ensure that I read what Museveni wants. I say that I've been defamed and slandered because a lot of untruths have been said about me. I'm a member of parliament. I'm a former minister. And I've called a press conference to address my being bullied on social media, specifically on Facebook, bullied under circumstances that are more a comment about where we are as a country than what is said about me. No one, certainly not a member of parliament, should have to do what I've been forced to do today, because we should not be where we are right now. We should not be where we are right now. There have to be processes and procedures that I should have been able to employ to address this issue long before it reached this stage. If I can't find protection in my very privileged position of member of parliament, what about the ordinary citizen? I'm bullied, I'm defamed, and slandered by persons who will not show their faces. They call themselves France Museveni, and they present themselves to the entire world using a photograph of a Ugandan man called 𝐔𝐍𝐈𝐓𝐘 𝐃𝐎𝐖. Pause a minute and consider the implications and possible ramifications of that one fact alone. No one should be able to attack you publicly, naming your family members and your businesses without disclosing their own identity. And certainly, no one who believes in the veracity of their statements need hide behind a pseudonym. I'm being cyberbullied, defamed, slandered by persons who claim access to police investigation files and records. That claim alone should concern every person who believes in justice and the rule of law. Indeed, if indeed France Museveni has access to investigation records, there can only be four possible explanations. The first is that he stole the records. The second is that he bought the records. The third is that they were gifted to him. Or the fourth is that he works for the GIS. Any of these possibilities should keep you awake at night. France Museveni makes all kinds of allegations up against me. The allegations or attacks that I'm aware of can be divided into three broad categories. First, there are the pro-GIS stance posts. France Museveni attacks me claiming to do so in support of or for the benefit of the GIS. The new GIS, the GIS of today as he calls it, they make it very clear that is the new GIS that they're talking about for and support. They make that point repeatedly, but at no point has the GIS distanced themselves or itself from those pro-GIS attacks on me. There are also the pro-Mosau stance attacks. France Museveni has repeatedly attacked me, claiming that I'm a part of a scheme to oust Mosau from power. We can all agree that reference to Mosau is reference to His Excellency the President of the Republic. I don't think we can agree about that. Mosau is also the president of the BDP. I have not seen anything done or said suggesting that the office of the president or that of the BDP has distanced themselves from France Museveni's pro-Muslim posts. I've not seen that. There are numerous allegations in which it is stated or insinuated that I have been meeting with opposition politicians and anti-Muslim BDP members. Blatant lies have been shared or reshared, and all under the stated objective of preventing my success in ousting Muslim. Cyberbullying, defamation, and harassment are crimes and actionable wrongs, whether or not they are done to protect the emergence of a faction in a political party. The first I learned about the crocodile faction was on Facebook from France Museveni himself. But that is not even the point. The point is that it cannot be acceptable in a democracy to be criminally bullied to prevent you from exercising your constitutional right to assembly and association. It cannot be right. It is particularly alarming that the criminal bullying is done by a person or entity publicly claiming protection of a state organ. How did we get here? Corruption and theft allegations against me. France Museveni alleged that I'm corrupt and I'm a thief, and repeatedly threatened to share evidence relating to my corruption. He is very clear that the sources is the DIS and that these threats are in support of or in the direction of the DIS. I deny the allegations against me, but even assuming that I was the most corrupt person in the world, even assuming that they could be proven in court, how and when did Botswana deteriorate to a point where state organs sponsor trials by Facebook or on Facebook? Where is the rule of law? How can it be remotely acceptable for the DIS to avail records of investigations for public consumption by Facebook users? I've been asked if I have reported France Museveni to the authorities. My first answer is really, I should not have had to do that, because France Museveni has reported himself. He has reported himself to authorities and they did nothing. He has tagged the president, he has tagged the vice president, he has tagged the DG of the DIS, he has tagged every person in authority, or almost every person in authority in this country. So he did not need to be reported, he reported himself. No one with the power and authority to protect me can claim not to be aware of the bullying, of the harassment, and defamation directed at me. There was even a declaration on Facebook by one individual close enough to the BDP leadership to know the truth, that Museveni is protected. I reported France Museveni to the vice president. My report was neither acknowledged nor responded to. I reported France Museveni to the Minister of Defense, Justice and Security, to the Commissioner of Police, to the Chief of Staff, and to the PSP, and all have advised that I make a formal complaint to the police. I've taken their advice and done just that. I do not wish to go too much into my report of the police, but I promised the university officers not to do anything or say anything that could possibly hamper their work. I have communicated directly with France Museveni, or at least two France Musevenis. I have come to the conclusion that France Museveni is not an individual, but a project executed by a group of individuals under the direction or persons who have promised, and up to now have availed protection from any legal sanctions. It is not one person. It is a group of people. It is a project that is directed and is under protection. Individuals and protectors who are not constrained by natural rules of Nemo Julex in Causa Sua. No man can be a judge in their own cause, or the Audi Atram Patem rule that says, here the other side. Individuals and protectors who act with impunity. In conclusion, let me assure France Museveni that he or they will be unmasked, they'll be identified, they will face justice, and should that be the case in any country that calls itself, as should be the case in any country that calls itself a democracy and has a functioning justice system. The question though is, why is this happening? For personal entertainment? I don't think so. They could dance if they want to do. For pay or for a cause? I say evidence suggests that it is for pay for some members of the team. And of course, for the project itself, I believe it's a pause. I will pause here and ask you to ponder, what is the cause when you look at all the posts, the many posts? And I encourage everyone who has been bullied or is being bullied by this project to report the matter to the police. If we don't act now, very soon we won't recognize this country. I thank you for listening. And I'll now take questions. I'm going to do this myself, and when I identify you, please, state your name, and your question out. Sir, and sir, in that order.
My question is to you, Minister 𝐃𝐒. During the ongoing parliament, the whole party in someone is one of the worst beings in the whole criminal and gross justice.
What?
Criminal and gross justice.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. They are against the power higher they are creating the pseudo accounts don't you think of what you are
Thank you very much. I totally disagree with you, sir. Lawful intercepts are a feature of all investigative tools in the world. You understand? Lawful intercepts is one way you collect evidence about people when you have reasonable grounds to believe that a crime has been committed. Just like search and seizures. The police can come into your house if they believe that you are hiding things, and they can obtain a warrant. Sometimes they can come without a warrant if they believe that you may hide them in the meantime. The police can arrest you at the airport under what they call arrest suspected defuga without a warrant, because if there's a case they see at the airport, they can arrest you. But the thing is, there's be a process of doing that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with lawful intercepts of information. The problem with the original draft, which was worked on and fixed, was that could happen without any warrant. But go anywhere. How else do you think you're going to break up a drug ring? Because if somebody's sitting in Japan or in America, or in Botswana, if you just go back and do some research, and you realize one of the biggest intercepts was a 2-year work by international police security officers all over the world, officers or state organs all over the world. It took 2 years. For them to do that, they have to pretend they are part of music. For them to do that, they need to be pretend that they are drug users. For that, what do they need? They need to have a suit identity. They have to pretend that they actually work maybe in airlines, for example, when they're actually operatives. You need this. So let's be very, very clear. I support lawful intercepts law. I do not support that they can be unfettered to the powers to the organ. So I totally supported the law as amended by the minister. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the update, Dr. Dow. Just out of interest, I would like to know your way forward regarding all those concerns that you spoke about. Clearly, you are the aggrieved here. Usually, one would consider a legal route, and in this case, we all agree that you are dealing with, we assume it's some pseudo account. Now, what are your intentions or plans legally to deal with this kind of pseudo account in terms of revealing or unveiling the person or the people behind this this actions or this defamatory you're talking about?
We are a very small community, okay? And first of all, the truth is that with very little work, any person, any organ with the resources, whose job it is to actually this kind of work, should be able to find these people, this person, very quickly. I have reported the matter to the police. I'm very confident that, the police are serious about unmasking France Museveni, and I do believe very soon we will see changes in that account. And first of all, look what he's done. He's using somebody's image a living, breathing individual, a very wealthy man for that example. In Uganda, do you think that man is going to sit there and see his face, his profile being used in Botswana for political, and other, purposes? I mean, you might, and do you think that man, if he ever came to Botswana to sue, do you think he's going to sue the poster? No, it's going to be the government of the republic. This man is not hiding. He repeatedly, he puts his face there, using somebody's name, and nobody's saying anything. So I really think that the thing is, what I do believe in life is that the majority of people are good people. The majority of people are good people. That's why there are people in jail and people outside in jail. But the problem is that bad people are generally bold, they're aggressive, they're powerful, and therefore they shut down those people, the majority of people who are actually good. And I think there comes a time when people say enough is enough. Enough is enough. I just don't see how this man can just every single minute, be posting vile things about people. If you really do have evidence against him, for God's sake, be a whistleblower. If one office won't listen to you, go to another one. You can't, you can't harass me out of affection. I'm not in affection, but even if I said, you cannot threaten me out of affection. I mean, that's not how it's done. So, and what is his interest? How can he be interested in supporting himself, supporting GIs, and also supporting you, pretending to be supporting you because you are anti-corruption? And nobody's looking at what is the end game for you, France Museveni? I really do believe this press conference gets people talking, gets people in their own homes, in combis, at workplaces, and saying exactly what that gentleman was talking about. The problem, sir, the one who talked about lawful intercepts, sir, the first question, the problem is not so much that the lawful intercept we should be worried about. What should be worried about that if police records, I think this man is claiming to have police records, he says that all the time. If police records can be availed to Facebook users, it means even with legal intercept, even with what we have, even what the controls that we have in place, that information can be sold, can be gifted, can be availed to the public. And what does it say about this country? I'll tell you what it says. It says, I can tell you that if this continues, no other security organ or agency in the region or in the world will collaborate with us. They will not. If records of police can be given to somebody and they publicly say, I have killed so and so, I have killed so and so, I have killed so, do you think if you are investigating a case, you are in the US and you're talking with Interpol, you are going to give that information to, you are not, you're going to Namibia, you're going to Zimbabwe and try to find around the region, is there anyone you can talk to about this one? Because you don't want to be silent, you want to be silent as a state organ in your own country. So I think that you should be worried about. I think there's another question.
Just a follow-up, or are you sticking to the police, or you might consider doing court application?
I need evidence. I need more data. Okay, I can either pay you. Has got the resources to actually find the IP address and find this person. I mean, you understand? Which I cannot invest my own money into that. Or I want to trust this data. I want, and of course, once they have that evidence, there are two options. They don't, and they are not mutually exclusive. There's also the criminal, part, of course. Also the civil part, because there's been defamation. Cyberbullying is a crime, but all crimes also have a damage to it. I own a business called the Guest House. He has been putting it, on social media. That is costing me business. That's what. Who's going to go to an establishment where the person is corrupt? Where the person, is holding secret meetings. Where the person, is against, their favorite president. Who's going to do that? Yes, sir. And then, sir.
Topple from Sunday Standard. If I'm not mistaken, you made reference to the link between this Museveni account and the DIS. And as we know, all intelligence agencies usually report to the president, maybe by extension the executive. So do you think the president knows about this?
Everybody who's been tagged knows about it. The president has been tagged all the time. So you must know. Okay? 2, the president is the president of the BDP. And clearly BDP people know And there are so many structures. If he doesn't know him personally, then his advisors know. And so there is absolutely no doubt in that. That's not higher. There's absolutely no way that Session does not know. There's no way. There's no way. It is obvious. I mean, he's not hiding. The only thing he's hiding is his name. And who's he hiding? If he's not hiding, he's taking them and says, look, that's what I've done today. He's reporting every single day. Look, that's what I did today. This is who I defended today. This is what I said about this person today. I claim to have police investigative records. Nobody's saying, oh my God, where did you get them? How did you get them? Arrest the man. Nobody's saying that. I think your question is
yes. My name is Talefan Charles from Mir. Looks like you are now on your own. Your party, 𝐔𝐍𝐈𝐓𝐘 𝐃𝐎𝐖, you reported to the VP, the chairman of the party. You're not telling us BDP related. So what does it say about your future in politics? For the past general election, so got especially elected. So is this like the end or the beginning of the end of your political career?
I see. So my political career is anchored on support of the BDP. I will not comment on my future political career, so it is not in my interest at this point to do that. I think somebody had a hand there, and there was ma'am, and then sir, and then sir, and I think maybe you're going to be able to stop.
No, you don't cheat from the points. That time what I was I'm becoming I'll tell you directly to the party, not to the VP. The party, the BDP, or the or one trade, or I'm being abused for the particular issue or the project, or even be to the side or the CCB and give me the company. The happiness was like for the press conference, they are actually saying, who knows? The BDP, why is it not supporting you in the Women's League?
You asked a very important question, as to have I reported to the structures of the BDP, okay? I'm going to decline to answer that question for a very, very good reason that is not known to you. It is not in my best interest right now to say that. Reasons are a simple thing.
Yeah, but no side by Women's League.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, first of all, I issued a press statement to say I'm going to call a press conference. When you are under attack, you must look around and see who your friends are, and you find them. Some of them, you may have hardly friends who are hiding in the bushes, and you know who they are, and you know when they will support you, but you're correct. And I know the press conference, about France Museveni, they didn't do the conference about the BDP. They didn't do a conference that concerns the BDP. But I say it concerns everybody who is aware of the actions of this person or persons. Yes, ma'am.
We don't hide for them, Sandra. Madam, how presentation I have content? I mentioned you have directly talked to France Museveni. So, what's our name? What's our France Museveni and two, second question, why would you not think France Museveni has someone hello and I can't keep up with people? The third question, we like a kind of we say, you know, so the VP, there was a police commissioner, so we have the VP, the chairman of the as the Lord we have the talk about this is between you and the leadership of your party.
The first question I engaged him on Messenger, and he was very clear and very confident, very arrogant, that he cannot be touched. Okay? It was very, very clear. He gave me a number that I called, and he said, yes, it is me, France Museveni. The following day, different voice answered. Okay, so it doesn't say, that's why I asked the second question. Why do I think it's more than one person? Still managing the account very clearly, but then at first he was a bit confused and said, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't talk yesterday. And then later, oh, I don't understand why that meant, why France Museveni, is it this? I don't know who France Museveni is. And then later, oh, I don't know why France Museveni gave me my number. I know the man, but I'm not him, and I don't understand why he gave me the number. I think this malicious, I think you reported from the same account that says I'm France Museveni. So clearly it's more than one person. And clearly, on the second day, they didn't realize that they were talking to the same, that account previous day. That's why I say it's more than one person. That's why I say that. And thirdly, you were asked the question, is there no, no. My party is a huge party with members across this country. Okay, and any disagreement between you and him, if you are, is not a disagreement with the party. I am a very proud member of this party. And I do believe that until somebody comes through that front door and tells me that there's a conflict between me and the party, then there is no such conflict. Yes, ma'am.
Emma, when maybe you continue and send an answer about that, there was a BDP communication committee member, should be protected. So I got a conclusion, conclusion is BDP. And the last one, you have to agree that you are being a special elected MP, and it's quite strange that you are not in the cabinet. You tell us why did you quit?
Took it down. You were saying
BDP, since what are protecting.
I mean, there's no doubt that Museveni acts like someone under protection. There's absolutely no doubt. But if you're to write that, I guess, if you're to write what is writing where, I don't know how to think. I guess, and then at the end and say, the DIS of today, is a good DIS, Unity Down, we are not attacking, listen, DIS will actually issue a statement and say that, the person who's speaking on behalf of whatever is not a member of DIS, it's only sent by DIS, we distance ourselves from that. When state organizers don't do that, they are saying, we embrace, we endorse, in fact, we would encourage. There's no doubt about that.
So you agree with it?
I wouldn't say that. I know that there was a post, I've seen it, of a particular person who said Museveni is protected. She stated a statement of fact. Whether or not she is part of the protection, I don't know. But she's stating a statement of fact. Nobody said a bullshit that anybody, that account had been taken down a long time ago. It's been taken down a long time ago. Somebody reported it. Somebody put checkers in bad light. They cannot keep on citing the president, support the president, trying to support the DIS in this manner. They are making us a laughing stock of the world. They are making this country a laughing stock of the world. Somebody put it down. And then somebody thought it was a good thing. How can it be a good thing? And you have another question.
Why did you quit?
No, I'm not an affectionist. Honestly, if you don't know me, I mean, if you knew my life, you would know, if you were to go into my phone or look at the last 10 days or the last 20 days, who I met, where I was, first of all, we attend Parliament on virtual, so we don't have to go to Parliament at all. If I really was an affection, you see me up and about. I'll go to my office because it's a very, you understand? So if you're staying at your house, watching Parliament online or at your business, when do you get time to be on? I'm not a member of the affection. In fact, I honestly can tell you, the first time I had crocodile, whatever, I thought that's another thing. But when you slander people, you create heroes. Okay? Whoever the crocodile faction is, right now people know about it. So you actually, I'm sure none of you knew about it until it was said. He probably named it. I don't know whether, did he actually name it? Maybe because he says crocodiles are dishonest, they go under water, they come out. I don't know where the name comes from. But do you really think the faction will call itself crocodile? I don't know. I I know about this one is not about, but maybe it should be an elephant or an island. I mean, I don't know. But I'm just saying, I'm not a member of the popular faction. I didn't even know it existed. I'm not be dishonest. I mean, there's no doubt that in every political party there's going to be rumblings. There's going to be, jostling for power. That's the nature of life. Okay? But that's actually, there is a faction that is meeting routinely, and it's called the crocodile faction. That was news to me on Facebook. When you ask me why I left the cabinet, I decline to answer that question. It is not in my best interest at this point. And while it's not in your best interest either.
Anthony Paladi from Jamaica. Where would you place, how would you say, what do you want from this press conference? What would you say this is a success from this press conference?
Success for me from this press conference, for example, is that Museveni stops posting about me. That is success. But I cannot stop him, it's no protection, he will stop by the law. Success for me is when we are talking about it and talking about the issues. I didn't come here to be tried, to answer to criminal charges by Museveni that I'm a member of the faction, that I'm corrupt, that I'm a house inside. Those are not real issues. The real issue is whether or not it should be possible for him to use the standard, the flag, of a very important organ, and just gallop through life defaming everybody.
Okay, and just to be clear, with all the access that you have to the president, no action has been taken thus far that you can report to us. Probably something happened.
Sorry?
No action has been taken with all the access that you have. And then my final question is, where would you place what is happening with this press conference right now in the current political theater in the country?
The political theater in the country?
Yeah, and especially now, we have a president who's an exile and is this part of that?
Vice President, yeah. I mean, I don't want to go into that, at this point. But what I will say is that often we think that you work for democracy and then you get it and then you sleep. You work for women's rights, you get them and then you sleep. You work for gay rights and you get them and then you sleep. But I think life will, recent events, even just worldwide, will show you that you have to constantly and continuously fight for democracy. And that you can just I think we've been so proud, for so long that we are a democracy, we believe in the rule of law, we trust our courts, we trust the executive, we trust the parliament, we trust the media, but I think that this can happen. That cyberbullying can happen under your watch, the media, but you've never even questioned that. Instead, the front page will come with it, but you are not interrogating, where did I get that information? And who was selling it and why? And then it's alarming. And the reason is that, you have all become complacent. You have to consider, and I'm going to repeat, I'm not a member of any faction, I'm not the crocodile, but that's not even the issue. Even if I were, you cannot threaten me out of assembling and associating with people who I think may be like-minded. That faction is a right to exist. There are political ways in which you go and cajole them, get them to your side, negotiate with them, but you don't send a cyber bully after them. You just don't, not in a democracy. Even if I was in prison right now, being convicted of murder, you have no right to actually take records that you say you got from a state organ and put them in a public forum. That is not how justice works. I'm going to, there was a question that side. I'm going to take 2 more questions and then we're going to close. Sir, and sir, and the 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we close.
What did you say on Zawale, have they made any demands or in terms of any demands that we have there?
No, he said, oh, meet me for coffee. If you meet me for coffee, I will show you the records I have against you. And I said, no. If you really believe you have them, if you believe that you can legally post that stuff, post it on Facebook, just do that. If you think it is okay to do that. Otherwise, please take them to the local authorities. It already say they are from they said they're already from the state. That's why we say you have them. You know, so I don't understand why they are with you. I don't know whether it is, so no, he's very boastful. He's very boastful. And I'm a very polite man. If you see me, you'll see that, you know, I really, you know, I have a lot of information about you and other people. I know you met with John Muriki. I know you met with Danilo. And he just said, oh, that's what he tells me. I even thought he maybe shot in the head. So he said, are you sure you are right? I honestly thought maybe he's that's when at first I thought, okay, maybe I should just do it again. Maybe this guy is actually, you know, a mental case because of the way he was speaking. I said, yeah, but it's a mental case if he is. I think I have you and
Hey, Nani, maybe share with us the timeline for how to put the link come up with this thing there but not an embassy
No, I will not talk about that because I promised the police. I promised the police, you know, that for them to do their work. Because you can imagine that some of the information they have to do, they have to go and find out information. So I don't want, honestly, you know, people are working under pressure, and they also assured me I'm also the first person to report Museveni. You know, so clearly, also anybody else here who's been bullied by Museveni or out there, I think, you know, we need to be able to have a class case against this person, but no, I will not say that.
Can I press conference now, you are being disappointed ka justice or Hydra to pen where
No, I'm not disappointed at all, you know, about the police, actually. And I have to say, when I first, not at all, not how they painted my matter. No. The press conference is not about, it's not about so much about the police, okay, and how they're working. I have not given up. I do not believe they've been slow, you know, so let's not even suggest that, because I really do respect the officer and officers who are handling my case. But the purpose of the press conference is really, this man has been talking about me on Facebook, okay? And I thought, instead of answering him on Facebook, let me cooperate him together so he can know what I think of what he's doing and what my views are. That's really is where we are. And those who get a chance to answer, because somebody has actually, one of you has asked him for an interview. And I thought, you know, if I do that, you know, it's more, it's not far-reaching, maybe we scripted the questions, maybe, you know, so I wanted you to see me, to decide for yourself, you know, whether you can trust what I'm saying or not, because I'm sure as journalists, that's what you do. You can see whether or not somebody is you. Send a little bit closer.
The question I wanted to ask is, apart from what you've done, you know, in terms of what you're saying about reporting to the police, have you considered some sort of litigation? Have you been, for example, in touch with Facebook? Because that's not, I'm just wondering that in terms of what you're doing to contain what you believe are the malicious, I assume that you say that the allegations are malicious because Museveni is making allegations about the misappropriation of pension funds, and these are substantial amounts of money. I'm wondering, have you come up with a strong worded statement, maybe addressing some of his concerns? And secondly, wouldn't it have been good for you to just call the bluff? And when he said to you, let's meet, you meet him to at least see who
so he can post the following day, I met with her and he denied everything. She's such a, you know, I mean, the man is already honest. I mean, how can I trust him? I told him, I don't trust you. There's no way I'm meeting you. And then he's got, I told him, if you're so dishonest in writing, what about in person?
But you could have gone maybe with a witness. You could have gone maybe with one or two people to act as your witnesses. Even us, we could have gone there to see. Everyone wants to know who this Museveni character is because he seems to have a lot of confidential
information. And that's another thing. I honestly do not believe it's one person. So, you know, it would be some other, you know.
Even if it was more than one.
Yeah, but that was my choice. Maybe you would have done that. I did not trust him. You know, you understand? Maybe
have you reported the matter to Facebook?
Yes, I have.
And what have they said? What have they said?
You know how I think you put in and then they'll tell you they will come back to you. That yeah, that's how it works. You report and you say why you state the statement, and they will,
It takes 48
it takes,
hours.
yeah. So, but then they come back and to ask for more information, yeah. And then, and if more and more people report, then they receive even quicker. Someone will have a question here.
I think I have the last two. The first one is, if Museveni's posts are based on intelligence, does that give credence to the allegations? And the second one is, some time back, the Auditor General made some comments against you in the report about International Aviation School, IAS. And last week, the Minister of Finance announced how they will be setting aside funds for further review on the matter. Do you feel targeted?
I would say on the auditor's report, no. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think a red flag was raised, and they should follow it up. But it's a matter of fact. I mean, I don't think I'm targeted by the minister now. I wouldn't say that. On the aviation, if I were to answer that question, it would be a very long answer. But I can tell you as a matter of fact, okay, that the issue there was whether or not, the issue was whether or not continue to support a local school, okay, because it was struggling, because they were saying it's not, the kids are not graduating on time. That was the case, okay? So the answer by this government was to send them to South Africa. I don't know whether that's been audited to make sure there were enough flights. On the issue, the issue raised, I want to give you an exclusive on that. I'm promising you an exclusive on that, so they can, because if I answer you right now, I'm giving you disjointed answers. And I'll tell you where we are with that particular issue. And I can tell you that I've done nothing wrong. But I believe I've done nothing wrong. Am I being targeted by the minister? New targeting? We will see. Yes, sir. The last question, sir.
Are you okay though?
I can tell you that I'm very, very, I'm surprised you say that, because of all the mornings in the last 20 days, I think this is my best morning. I'm the kind of person, if I really believe in something, it's very, very, very difficult to shut me out. You can bring all the dirt, you can bring all, the allegations. You can, I'm not an angel, I don't know any angels, but I can tell you, one of the things I do is I do not steal. One of the things I do, people who know will tell you, I've known this woman, if we are fighting by 100 people and I think, you tell me I owe you 100 people, I think I owe you 80, I will give the 100 people. I'm not the kind of person who wants to leave a trail of unhappy people in my circle. That's not who I am. That is why I'm not afraid to come here. I will say again, I'm not an angel and therefore I will have made mistakes, in my life. But one of the things I do not do is steal. And I can tell you that ex-journalists, you should come together and actually move an application for the disclosure, full disclosure of everybody in the cabinet for the last 10 years. When they get their money, what do they get the money? How do they buy that? You do that. I'll be the front of the line to give you their records. I'll be people, I don't want to talk about myself in that respect, but I'll tell you that, I can account for every penny I ever made. It's a fact. People say, it's a fact that 2018 I sold a school for 85 million. I'm not a rich person, but I'm not a poor person either. I owned a school for 30 years. I've never owned a Mercedes-Benz, because that's not how I live. I've never lived in Paparani, in a plush house, anything old. And therefore my life is such that I can afford my life. That I can account for every penny I've ever made. But I want to tell you, look around. Who do you know who was actually without a job 3 years ago? But right now is richer than you are. And you will own that person. Thank you. With that, I want to end this response.